What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm just gonna make a little bit of a quick video going over this month's topic on charter schools. So I just got off debate school probably about a week or so ago, and so I didn't learn too much about the topic, but I think I know enough to help you guys out, especially if you haven't learned too much. So first, let's go over the topic. If you don't know it already, it is on balance, charter schools are beneficial to the quality of education in the United States. So let's kind of just break up the resolution. So first of all, we come across on balance. If you don't know what on balance means, as you can see here, with all things considered. That means with all variables, everything considered, all charter schools are beneficial to the quality of education in the United States. So we're just basically trying to say that we're talking about everything, and we're not talking about like just a small amount of things. And once again, this is just cornered into the United States, though. So beneficial. So this doesn't mean charter schools. We're not saying charter schools are better than private schools. We're just saying overall charter schools are gonna help the United States in general and are better for the quality of education. So this isn't whether charter schools are good or bad, okay? It's whether they're beneficial. So you need to make sure you're debating on that. If anybody in the debate starts making it charter schools are bad, public schools are good, or public schools are bad, charter schools are good, you just point it out. You say, yeah, you say charter schools are bad, charter schools are good, but you don't actually give an overall impact. Because if you're just proving that charter schools are if you're just saying good or bad, you're not getting anywhere. You're not getting to the overall impact. So you can just point that out and just say this is basically non-topical, or you can just say our opponents don't have any impact. So you can basically just deconstruct the entire case with that. Maybe it's not both contentions. If they have multiple contentions, then only one contention, and that means you can just focus more on deconstructing the contention that you really need to actually refute. So actually here I have a few summaries. They may not be crazy summaries, they may not be great, they don't actually have too much, they don't have any evidence, but some of this is coming from the things that I've learned before in previous debates, so cards that I might remember or something like that. So I'm just gonna go open up a more updated version. I'll probably have some of the cards there for you to look at. So here I have a more updated version, and it does include some cards. So this is not how you're gonna make your cases. If you want to know how to organize your case and to kind of just format it properly, check out my last video. This was more of like kind of last minute outline, just so I know what my case is going to be about, and this way I can just basically base my case off that. It just makes it much easier. So I do recommend you make small outlines and then you put little X's or something like that, some way to mark that you need a card after this. Then you can just copy and paste it into a new document, and then you can just search for the cards, add in the cards, then fix whatever you need after you're done adding in all the evidence. So here I have, we'll start off with AF, because usually AF does go first, so we'll go like that, unless you're doing a coin toss. So what my AF contention here that I have is charter schools can create district-wide benefits. So I've made sure to make out these contentions as it's not good or bad. proving that charter schools are better and that public schools are worse. I made sure that it's saying this is what charter schools can do, and this is how it's going to help the quality of education overall. And so this can contradict a lot of people's cases, and it may stump a lot of people because they may not have these types of cases. Now, this is just an example. Please don't copy this or anything. But if you need the cards, you can obviously just search it up. I'm sure if you just search up the name, the last name, and the date, then you'll probably get the card that is over here. Because the cut card is in a whole nother document. So basically what we have here. So I'm not going to read out this whole thing. If you want to pause the video and read it for yourself, feel free to do that. But I'll just make it a lot shorter for you guys. So basically what this app is about, it's talking about how charter schools create competition for public schools. And overall, public schools won't try and get a better quality of education to compete with, public schools, yes, I said public schools, will try and get a better quality of education to compete with the charter schools. And this way, the people at public schools can get themselves a better quality of education. So this way, when we keep the charter schools around, we can basically just make this competition that just makes public schools better. And then that means people that can't afford to go to charter schools or can't and must stay in these public schools will end up getting a better quality of education. That way they can get to a better job, or they can get to a satisfactory job, or whatever job that they've wanted in the future, and they can live comfortably. So the card that I have here is Lucan, Egalite, and Holly in 2013. So basically what this is saying, competition motivates districts to respond to the loss of students and revenues. Students bring producing a rising tide that, as the common metaphor suggests, lifts all boats. District officials in a position to influence policy and practice have begun to respond to competitive pressure from school choice in new ways. In Denver, for example, school board members um, I don't know how to pronounce this, Gian Kaplan and Andrea Merida provided evidence of their awareness of competition among education providers in 2011. Guest commentary in the Denver Post. So from this card, which is really helpful because it does provide what is that? Examples. And I do have another one. A 2018 study of New York shows that district schools increase funding in affected schools. So that is more recent, so you can also use that. So the more examples you have, the easier it is for you to prove that competition between public schools and charter schools are helping out the public schools, are going to help out the kids that are being taught in it in the future. So as you can see, thus helping students already in the school as well as people that join later. Having a better education will ultimately lead to a good college, then a good job. Improving the generation will help the economy grow to lift more people out of poverty. So we're not just focusing on just those people, because if those people end up becoming successful, they end up buying more stuff. They end up contributing more to the economy, and the more we contribute to the economy, the more jobs we make. Things like that. I haven't included that in there, but make sure you include that in your case if you ever have something like that. And creating that will just help lift more people out of poverty. So we're just basically looking at America as a whole, and not just those people that have come out from those public schools. We're helping people who are already in poverty as well, and those people that were in those struggling public schools, struggling people in the public schools. So let's go on to neg. So in neg, you're trying to prove that charter schools aren't beneficial. So basically, you're saying, so what I'm saying here is that public schools get money for every time a student joins, and so do charter schools. Same thing. So when the student leaves the public school, they don't get paid for that education anymore. So those people will go over to charter school probably. And so the public school itself can make the cuts in their budget because they don't have to spend as much on trying to educate that one person, but the district can't make those cuts in their budget, as you can see in my case, in my contention. So as charter schools grow, more students join them, making it harder for the districts. When the districts can't pay it, can't pay it, can't pay. I'm sorry, I forgot a comma and I was just so confused. Can't pay. It is bad financially, especially in areas of poverty. So in areas of poverty, people are forced to go to public schools whether they like it or not. And so when public schools don't have enough, when the district doesn't have enough money, they can't provide money to the public schools in order to get a better quality of education or whatever else it might be within the public school to help the student learn. And if the student isn't getting a, a good quality of education overall, then like it's just pretty bad because especially in areas of poverty, they need to be at least getting a good quality of education. So as you can see from this will sacrifice the education of millions of students, thus compromising their future of getting a satisfactory job when they are an adult. He or she will be unable to afford the basic necessities to life in life. Budget cuts can lead to schools being closed overall, and this will be bad for the teachers and students that one live too far away from the school or two areas with no school. So what this is saying is basically if that school is forced to close, it can be bad for the teachers first of all. Teachers are already underpaid, and this way they won't even have a job anymore, and it's gonna be hard to get a new job because they already don't even have much money. And then it's gonna be hard for the students that live too far away because their parents are probably busy all the time trying to make money to afford things. And so if they live too far away from the next school, it's going to be hard to manage, and they're going to end up being either one school homeschooled, or it might be hard to even go to school at all. I know that's illegal, but some people end up not even going to school at all, and it's quote unquote homeschooled, but they don't really even get taught anything, and then that probably just compromises their future, as I said before. And then areas with no school except for like one or two, and those schools end up closing. There's probably no school for miles, especially these rural areas that probably have one or two schools. If they end up closing, you don't have any other schools in the area. Where are you going to learn? So once again, this compromises their future. So continue from this compromises the future generation, making so that not as much will be contributed to the economy. So going back to affirmative, as I said, when more is contributed to the economy, the better it is. The more jobs will be created, and the better it is for America as a whole, or the U.S. as a whole. So when the economy falls short, we can foresee things like a recession. And a recession will end up creating even more jobs lost, putting more people in the poverty, and we just don't want that. So according to Bradford in 2013, this can leave almost 900 million people at risk of falling below the poverty line, not counting the people that were already in poverty. Now their quality of life is much worse. By removing many charter schools, 900 million people will be saved. So as you can see, I'm not saying, oh, charter schools have a bad quality of education. Charter schools are doing this. Charter schools are doing that. Charter schools are being racist or something like that. No, I'm not doing that. I'm doing charter schools are taking money away from districts. Districts making cuts are going to lead to bad quality of education for the kids. Bad quality of education for the kids leads to them not getting the basic necessities of life. That means the whole new generation, a large part of it, won't be contributing to the economy. That can lead to a recession, then a global recession, which will lead to 900 million people at risk of falling below the poverty line. And then there's people that are already in poverty and now they probably don't have a job and they're not making any money, and now their quality of life is much worse. So we're talking about globally affecting the world by just doing something as small as getting rid of charter schools. Maybe it's not small, but compared to 900 million people falling below the poverty line, I mean, that's a big thing compared to just getting rid of a few charter schools. I mean, we could be saving 900 million people by removing charter schools. So I'm going to leave it to you to make refutations to this, and even if you don't want to write it down or something like that, then you could just think of some refutations, easy ones, and help you refute these cases. I'm sure you can easily refute it because I did not put too much thought into it, so it should be pretty easy to refute. It was I did it took only about like 10 minutes to make, so I hope this has been useful. I just want you guys to remember this isn't a good or bad debate. And if you end up having something like that, then you have the risk of someone else calling you out on that. So if you don't have cases like that, then you can just call out other people on that, and you can just basically say, hey, yours is good or bad. You can't say anything about ours because ours is literally proving that we're going to cause a global economy. So if we just do this, we're going to stop it. Your guys is just saying charter schools are bad. Okay, so we shouldn't have charter schools. That's not doing anything to the global economy or anything like that. You're not having any sort of impact or anything like that. So you can just basically point these out, and it's just an easy win. When you point these out, the judge will just be amazed because you just basically just said you can just discount their whole case just because I said this isn't a good or bad. But then you can even just keep on going saying, even if this is good or bad, we have XYZ cards that basically just say that no, charter schools are actually good, okay? And this is how they're better than public schools. Even this is how they're better than public schools or something like that. I don't know. You make the refutation files. But I really hope this did help. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.